Good evening, everybody. Dr. Glow here with Black Girl Everything, and I have the beautiful. I'm gonna try your name here, Sheryl.
Yes.
Yes, I'm a winner.
You got it.
Thank you to your parents for spelling it accurately. Very easy to pronounce all the time. So, Sheryl, tell me, where are you from?
Well, I was born and raised in the Bronx, New York, but I currently reside in upstate New York, where I just love it. I will never return back to the city because it's just better up here.
Where are you at upstate?
I am not far from. I am Highland Mills.
Okay. Okay, so I know that vicinity. I go apple picking in the area.
Okay, I'm right by Woodbury Commons.
Yeah. Area. Yeah, so to us Mount Vernon folk, because people from the Bronx consider Mount Vernon upstate.
Oh, really?
Even though you cross over the line, you're in Mount Vernon.
Right.
From the Bronx. So like even for me, Woodbury Commons is still not really necessarily upstate for me. It's kind of like a little bit past, Mount Vernon.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's about 45. Take me 40 minutes to get up there.
Yeah. Okay.
Not that bad at all. Upstate for me is like past Albany-ish.
Okay, you go.
Those are upstaters.
Yeah, that's when you got to stay overnight. That's not like a one-day trip. Not for me, at least. I don't like driving like that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I drive up and out into Albany and back down in the day. I got stories about that one. Trust me, be crazy. So you do so many amazing things. I was really excited about meeting with you today because of your business practices, your parent coaching, and everything else like that. So tell me the name of your business and how you got started, your organization, and kind of your mission.
Okay, so like you said, I have several things going on. I'm just that type of person. I'm that type of person where my brain never shuts off. So you're trying to sleep and it's just going. Mm-hmm. So I'm a multitasker, and so one of the businesses that I have is I'm a parent coach. That initially started during the pandemic when the schools shut down and parents was just lost, and they needed direction, they needed help, they needed guidance. The kids was also lost as well. So someone had reached out to me in regards to doing a program for the school because now everything was virtual. Mm-hmm. And so I had started my parent coaching business through there, and I got contracted through the New York State Board of Education. So that was a beautiful thing. The parents loved it because it was a safe place for them to really speak their truth about what was transpiring, because nobody been through a pandemic like that. So we all was just kind of lost. Me, even myself, it was kind of very strange. But when you have, that's why it's important to have the support and support groups, and so they can have that place to speak their truth and not be judged. Yeah. And have people who will understand what they're going through. So it was a beautiful thing that we had going on there. Then I also have another business where it's called You Name It Creations, where I create customized items. That's something that I love doing because, like I said, my brain just don't shut down. It just keeps going. So I took that creativity and turned it into, a business. I'm all about multiple streams of income because I have a large family. And when I leave here, I want to be able to leave a legacy for my children. I don't want them to be, scraping and trying to figure things out, once me or God forbid my husband, go on to the next side, So we want to definitely have, those things going. And also it teaches them as well by seeing us do these things, taking our gifts, because we take a lot of our time and we put a lot of our time into a 9-to-5 and taking our gifts and our stuff and pouring into somebody else's dreams and somebody else's vision. And so while we're doing this, we're showing our children that you too can take your gifts and make a living for yourselves. You don't necessarily have to, work a 9-to-5. You work it until you can really get your business off the ground, So that's that. And of course, I'm a singer. I sing. I I do so much. I'm like a really multitasker. So I sing for funerals, I sing for weddings. That's something that I do. I just love singing. I sing in church. It's therapeutic for me as well. So I don't necessarily see that as a business. That's just something therapeutic for me. So I love doing that as well. I had participated, I'm an author. I participated in a book where 31 other women. So we gathered together and we wrote a book. So that was a beautiful thing too. So, and I'm working on another book of my own. So I got some stuff going on and I'm coming out with a single. So I'm moving on. I'm doing some things. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm going to unpack all that. All right. So we're going to go all the way back to you being a parent coach. Now, I'm an educator. You know, my doctorate, I'm a doctor of education.
Okay, great. Awesome.
And I'm also a certified life coach and parent coach and all that other cool stuff and disability specialist. So I'm all those
that's beautiful.
well, right? Because I love it. So as a parent coach during the pandemic, what were some of the challenges that you were seeing mostly from parents?
Oh, with the parents, a lot of parents was just kind of just lost. Like, for instance, you know, one of the biggest things that I saw was because the schools was closed and a lot of parents were single mothers and they didn't really have family. So schools is closed. Now they have to figure out what I'm going to do with my child. Mm-hmm. I have to work. I got to work my 9 to 5. If I don't work my 9 to 5, we can't eat. We won't have a roof over our head. And so, so that's one of the biggest things that I saw during the pandemic was trying to figure all of that out. And so what I tried to do was what I was doing during our support groups, I was trying to connect single mothers and parents in the local areas, trying to connect them together and help them, you know, gather together. And maybe if you work 8 to 4 and you work the 9 shift, maybe y'all can like barter time.
Exactly. Barter the care.
You know, right. Because I feel like, that's one thing that we lack nowadays. And I guess it's because of the lack of trust, because so much is going on in the world. People are so crazy. You can't trust anybody, especially with your kids. But I know, like, back in the days, you know, that's what they did. You know, we looked out for one another, you know, and I feel like we need to get that community back together, because it really does take a village to raise your children. It really does. It really does take a village. And I stand on that until this day. So that was one of the biggest things, was that piece of not having, you know, that family support or somebody to fill in the gap for you because you had to work. That was the biggest thing.
No, I totally get that vibe, because you find that back, you know, when we were growing up, it was your parents went out, but you knew your neighbor was watching you.
Right.
And everybody knew that somebody had their eyes on you at all times. Somebody was there. And that was just a whole block, because a whole block, they saw your parents' car gone. They knew they were automatically watching your house.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
And I currently live in a neighborhood where it's still the same way, where people actually watch my house. They'll call me like, listen, I saw this happen. I see your son is there. I see him in the backyard. Who's in the backyard with? Right. Because I know you're not here. Your car is not home. So that's the type of environment that I love being in. And a lot of communities don't feel the need to communicate and hold each other down like that, because people are scared of oh, you're in my business, or why are you worried about what I'm doing? Please worry about what's going on in my property.
I need you to, please.
Please worry about what's going on with my kids. Call me.
Yes.
Call me all day long. I'm like, listen, you know your son is over here? Yes. No. Thank you. Where is he? Take a picture and send it to me. Let me know. Keep me posted, right? Hold him accountable. Tap him on the shoulder like, hey, I'm talking to your mom. So he knows that people are holding him accountable wherever he is within the community.
That's right. Be careful.
That matters.
I got eyes all over.
All over. All the time. Right? It's just not a game. It's not a game. So that's just really important. And I think that parent coaching is big. This was one other reason why I started my nonprofit, was a way to support families, especially here in my community, because our parents tend to have this lack of trust for the schools and the school district, right? Because they think they're going to talk to the man, right? And what that looks like. So seeing people like us gives them opportunity to feel a little more at ease and ask the real questions and share the real information and say what's really going on. Like, listen, I don't want to leave my 8-year-old with my 10-year-old, but I got to go to work. But in to you, they'll say that, but they're not going to say that to an administrator.
That's right. That's right. You
They're not going
can't.
to share that. No, fear. What are they going to do? They're going to call the people on me.
Yes,
They're going to call
absolutely.
people on me. They can't walk in there and say, you know what? I get paid on Friday and it's Wednesday. I really ain't got no food in my house. They can't walk. There's not spaces for that.
No.
You know,
And
but there should be spaces where people can come
right.
into schools, where they can come into churches, where they can come in, because people are so scared of what's possibly going to happen.
And it's sad. It's sad.
It is.
It's sad.
It's
we got to do
really,
better.
really
We got to do better.
No, I think it's an overall community. You raise a good point with that. And even outside, inside, and around the pandemic, all aspects of it, we need to be able to open a space for our community to be able to ask for what their needs are and demand the supports that they really need out of this world, not these basic things, you know, because people need so much help.
Yeah.
We have strong parents and we have strong kids. Definitely. Exactly. So now that we're going to slide on to your next thing about you as being a creative. So a big thing about me is that I started this business in 2020. And it was all about the fact that I didn't want to do what I was doing forever. I was like, I'm not doing this forever. So let me do something else. So I started this business. Then pandemic came and it changed the perspective of what I'm doing and everything else like that. But it allowed me to be creative. So I think that we all have grown from the creative side. So I want to talk more about the type of products that you create. What are you doing? And are you making your children little helpers?
Well, I started this prior to the pandemic. So I've been doing this for about maybe 5 years, going on 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah. I took a break because I just had a baby and, you know, all my strength with it there, but I'm coming back. But what I do t-shirts and let me tell you first, let me rewind back. What started me with this is I had lost my son at 2 years old back in 2010. And I never wanted his name to die, never wanted to feel like he never existed. So I always wanted to keep him alive. So I did a conference, I think it was back in 2000 and whenever. I did a conference, and so I wanted some t-shirts made, but I had it in my head and I couldn't really, you know how you can't really describe it to somebody else what you want. So I just went and I just I did it myself, and I created the t-shirt myself. And I wowed myself, tell you the truth. I was like, whoa, okay, I did this. And so from that point on, people started contacting me about doing t-shirts for them. I didn't initially want to start out as a business. So they started t-shirts and they wanted it. So then they started contacting me about it. Then my creativity started growing and it started turning into other things. But the most popular things is the things, you know, where people pass away and they want to remember them by. So I have some, like, this is a lantern that I create, actually. This is a lantern, and this is my father-in-law. He passed away, and I do individual ones. This is my son here who passed away. And then it has a saying on here, I don't know if you can see, it says, death leaves a heartache no one can heal, love leaves a memory no one can steal. And this has been my bestseller. I have gotten sales across seas and I mean everywhere, and it has been my #1 seller. So it took a loss for me to develop this business. And I'm sad, but at the same time, I'm glad that it still helps me to keep my son alive and keep his memory alive. And it's helping me to help others too, because people look at me and say, Dad, like, you kind of strong, like, how are you doing this? But I enjoy the creative part of it because it gives me something to do. It gives me something to do. Like I said, my mind is always going. So I do those. I do customized t-shirts. I do mugs. I do cups. You can go to my I got some stuff on my website. Also, I also have an Etsy shop, You Name It Creations. I have a Facebook page, You Name It Creations. I have an Instagram page, You Name It Creations. Some of my items are on there as well. So feel free to check it out and look it up.
Okay, dope. So as we move into your singing career, Have you always sung when you were a kid? Did you sing in the shower when you were little?
I sung, shower, everywhere, everything. I sung, you know, when the music play, a commercial come on, you don't even know the song, I sing it. Like
Yeah.
you hear the melody, you just start singing. You don't even know the words, you just start singing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that all my life. I've been singing in church ever since I've been like 4 or 5 years old. You know, I've sung all my life, and it mostly is in church. I was born and raised in church, so that's where I really got my footing with singing, was in church. So, and I enjoy it because, like I said, it's therapeutic, as well as I love singing to help others, especially during hard times like funerals and stuff like that. They request certain songs, and I'm just glad that I'm able to sing for them and bring some hope or some joy to the difficult situation that they're dealing with at that point in time. So it's been.
No, I think that's definitely amazing. So people can actually contract and book you for these particular events?
Yes, they can.
And how do they do that?
They could do that on my website, SherellFerrer.com.
All right, girl. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So now, one of the main reasons why I chose to reach out to you in regards to wanting to do this interview with you was really about your family and your children and some of the other projects that you're doing surrounding that. So can you share a little bit? And thank you for sharing about your loss. And I think that I've been big on that, especially after I wrote my book, Memoirs of Infertility, to really talk about loss and what that means for people, especially if people of color, because it's so taboo to talk about us losing children or miscarriages and other ways that we lose our children and that process. So now I know that you have how many children?
I have 9 living children. Yes. I have 7 girls and 2 boys.
People don't do that no more.
The oldest is a boy and the youngest is a boy. You said people don't do that no more?
No.
They say 4 is a lot, right?
Yeah, they do. But I'm actually the oldest of 15.
Ooh, girl.
Yeah, my mom physically had 13 children. Many moons ago, though. It's probably almost many moons ago, because I think the youngest, the twins, are 21. So it's been a while.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I love big families. And when I come in contact with other big families, I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I love it too. We were never bored. But we also have our own football team of resources, which is really dope, to be able to contact and rely on each other and use each other for whatever we need, especially my sisters, because we're all brilliant, literally. So it just really adds up opportunity. And then my daughter, she's little, she's 2. She has plenty of cousins, and it's like a trio, like 5 of them. So they just be hanging tight. They travel together, they do things together. They all go to the same school that I'm the director of. So it's really interesting.
That's awesome.
To have them there. Yeah. Awesome. Great community. That's so talk to me about, so you're doing a new project. What is the project that you're doing?
Let me think, which one? Music project?
No. In regards to the children and everything else, what are you doing?
In regards to my children, I got a lot going on. Let me think back. What am I doing?
No, so I know you made a big deal about your last son, right?
Oh yeah. See, people don't understand. Like you were saying, go back. Like you were saying, like it was really taboo about talking about loss. Nobody knew how many loss I've had. Exactly. All they see is the kids that I've had. But nobody knew about the several losses that I've had. And of course, I didn't mention it because, like you said, nobody talks about it. So you're not going to just come out and just start talking to people and telling stuff like that if they don't have no connection.
Yeah.
And so when I had my second trimester loss, I had a second trimester loss in 2019, and that was a boy, and I went through. I went through with that, and I didn't want to go through depression, so I had to find another way how to deal with it. Because when I lost my other son in 2010, I was depressed. Yeah. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to get out of bed, but I had to because I had another child to take care of. If it wasn't for her, I probably would have never got out of bed. But in 2019, when I lost that child, the second time I lost, I was adamant about not going back to that place. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to go there. So I was like, okay, God, like, what am I going to do? Like, how do I not get there? And he was like, talk about it. Talk about the loss. Talk about your experience. Be honest with your feelings. And that's what I did. I did a Facebook Live. I talked about my loss. And so many women have contacted me and inboxed me and thanked me for like sharing my story, because they too had lost that nobody knew about it, and they didn't know who to talk to about it. But now they're glad that I talked about it, because now they could come and talk to me about it. So it was like a blessing, kind of like in disguise. So so that opened up a door for me to like really talk to other women about loss and be open about my loss with others, and just learn how to go through, like, ride the roller coaster, because it's a roller coaster of emotions that you go through when it comes to losing a child. And I don't care how many kids you have, a loss is a loss. Like, you can't replace a child. Like, I don't care how many kids you have, you cannot replace a child, not at all. So I'm glad that I did that and opened that door for women to feel comfortable enough to share their story and their loss. So I'm working with that and working with other women to do some things. I'm still trying to figure out exactly, because I don't like to jump. You don't want to jump and just do something. You want to be clear on the direction and the vision and the mission that you're going to really take with that. But I just encourage women to like continue to open up and talk about your story. My story went viral. Like, TikTok went completely viral. I woke up one night and it just shot through the roof. So a lot of women really connected with it, but then you also got the hate that comes along with it. So that blows your mind too. But it was a beautiful thing to see the woman that really could connect to my testimony and thank me for sharing my story. And I will continue to talk about it every chance that I get, every chance that I get. I always say, we never go through for no reason. There's a reason why we go through. And sometimes you don't understand it while you're going through it. Sometimes it'll take you years to figure it out, or later to see why exactly you went through it. I'm starting to see it, I'm starting to see something like, but
no, I totally get that vibe with that, because we're and I asked you to share that particularly because we have the same story in a way, because we lost our son in 2018 at 18 weeks 5 days. So I totally get I totally get that energy and that space. And I think that's what drew me to you when I saw you on Instagram initially. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I got to talk to her, because I love finding people with this commonality and putting it out there so individuals can know that they are not alone, which is the whole purpose of me writing my book. The book was really just solely out, just it was my therapy for sharing my story in regards to IVF, in regards to the loss of our son Laylan, in regards to the birth of our daughter Layel, and how it took to get to that space. And when I joked earlier about driving back and forth to Albany, our fertility clinic was in Albany. We would get up at 4 a.m. I'll drive to Albany and be back at work by 9 a.m. in Mount Vernon. So and that was just for us to have a baby. So there's so many things that we went through, and I discussed that in the book. And I just love sharing these types of stories and adding these types of stories, because there's so many people. Since I wrote this book, every place I go, even the people who don't even like my posts on Facebook, like literally come up to me. I saw you wrote this book and it's about this. Do you know I'm going through IVF? I'm doing this. I'm like, what? Are you really watching me on Facebook?
Yeah, they're watching.
They're watching. They're watching. So this is important for me, and to bring you on was so important to me, because I wanted them to also hear that there's somebody else. And I'm keep on finding that somebody else and keep bringing them onto this platform and to talk about what they experience and what they're going through. So people can constantly be reminded that loss, infertility, struggles, the damage to relationships, and your relationship held on.
They got, and you know what? and that's a blessing in itself, because a lot of relationships don't survive that, especially multiple losses. A lot of relationships don't survive that. They don't overcome that. So, that's a blessing in itself.
No, which means that you guys have a real strong foundation and a real connection out here, because even within the piece that I wrote, I interviewed people whose relationships did not make it.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. I hear it.
They don't. They literally don't. A lot of relationships don't make it through the process because there's so much stress with loss. There's so much stress with infertility in general. And then some people might look at you weird and say, but you have so many children. That has nothing to do with your experience. It doesn't matter.
Right. And then on top of that is a need to blame someone. So when you think about it, you kind of blame the person closest to you. So it's usually your spouse. So it's a lot. It's a lot of pieces. That's why I say it's a roller coaster that you go on, and that people got to just learn how to ride that roller coaster. But there's a healthy way to ride it. I am working on a book. Definitely. I was supposed to work on a book entitled Life After Loss. But once I got pregnant with my son, it's like kind of like my mind, the trajectory of my life kind of like shifted from what I was writing. You know how, because it changed. But I think I still need to write that book because it's real. It's real.
Yeah. I think you need to tap back into those feelings and those emotions,
and I got it recorded. I recorded those emotions and those feelings because I wanted to. I got it recorded. I was pissed.
That's so dope. Yeah, I'm excited for you to continue to work on that project. Continue to work on that project, and definitely let me know once it's done, so we can talk about it again. Get you back on my platform and share it again, and come out to some of my events and do some readings, from your work, and just really just talk about it, because this work is so important, and it's really just important for individuals to be able to live and learn about what's going on, because it's real. It's definitely real.
Absolutely. Yeah,
it is.
It's such a lonely place. When I thought about it, and I was like that, and I'm thinking about who can I reach out to talk to.
Yeah,
I couldn't think of nobody. Couldn't think of anybody. But,
yeah. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I had this thing with because I'm an empath in some ways, so I take on a lot of people's emotions. So my theory was, I don't want your emotions on top of my emotions. I want to have these emotions by myself. And then I have my wife is really emotional. She's really sensitive, right? She feels all the energy of the world all the time. So when I have that big bubble of emotion next to me in my bed, the last thing I need is how you feel. So I'm gonna leave you over there. But I just had to put myself in that space, because that was the healthiest thing for me, so I could be the healthiest for my marriage.
Right.
For us to be able to pull through that process and become stronger on the other side. And everybody's different.
Yep. Everybody's different. Yep.
Yeah. Completely. So tell everybody how they can find you, to connect with you, to talk with you, to share with you about singing, parent coaching, your book, your loss, your life, your creativity.
Well, you can definitely contact me and find me. You can find me on Facebook at Sherell Ferrer, my regular name, or you can find me on my like page at Sherell Ferrer LLC, or you can follow me on Instagram. I'm on Instagram as Lady Ferrer. I have a bunch of accounts on Instagram. Each one of my businesses has a Instagram. Name It Creations is You Name It with a U. We're on Facebook as well, You Name It Creations. I have an Etsy shop, You Name It Creations. Or if you can just go to my website, and you can see everything on there as well. And that is SherellFerrer.com, my first and last name.com. And I look forward to seeing and working with you guys.
No, Sheryl, I'm so excited to have had this opportunity to share with you today. And I want to continue these type of conversations within, some of my spaces that I have going on, especially with the expansion of the nonprofit and everything that I'm doing. So I'll share some information about some current events that I have coming up and all that other cool stuff. And keep me posted about what you got going on. Cool. I got to check out your website for all your creations and stuff. I didn't take a look at that yet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, Sheryl. Thank you so much. And everybody who wants to buy my book, you can buy it on my website, www.blackgirleverythingllc.com. It is there on top of all my Black Girl Everything merch and everything else that I do out here in the world is on my website, www.blackgirleverythingllc.com. That's me.
That's dope.
All right. Thank you so much again. Kiss all your beautiful babies and tell them that they're all superstars. Even the ones who don't listen.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.